Hello, I'm Dr. Sam Hancock of the Emerald Planet and EmeraldPlanet TV. We come to you on a week-to-week basis from Washington, D.C. in the United States as we look around the globe in 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, the technology, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And as we have a planet of 9 billion people by 2038 and possibly 12 to 13 billion by the end of this century, how are we going to be able to take care of all these people on planet Earth? And that's what Emerald Planet's all about. We come to you looking at the solutions, the best practices from around the globe as we create the Emerald Planet. Hello, welcome to the Emerald Planet. We're making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And seeing the long-term impacts of climate change. We're glad to have you. Thank you for being with us. Talking about organic living and how we really take this forward is something that's very important as we do move through the 21st century. And as we move towards 2050, and there's about 9 billion people on planet Earth, yes, 9 billion, and they may be here by 2038. So we must get busy as far as taking whatever areas that we have, whether it's in urban, rural, or suburban, and start growing our own food. And so the whole thing about it with the having your way with health, food is our medicine, is with the herbs, vegetables, and other items that we need as far as flowers to provide beauty for our surroundings. So Jay McFall, President, Master Gardener, Organic Living, looking at clipping your own herbs and picking your own vegetables and even having your own fruit. This is merely a dream for most people. How do we make this a more common reality for many people, Jay?
Well, the tower gardens are one good way, and really educating people on why it's important is probably the most important thing there is. Once they realize that they can get all the 90 minerals that they need for their body from the food they're eating because they've prepared the soil properly, makes a big difference.
And you said 90 minerals? And
Yes.
okay, I tell you, that's just absolutely incredible to think that we need that many. But we need that on a day-to-day basis?
Yes.
Okay, well, that was an emphatic answer there. Now, what we're going to be looking at here is some of the different plants that we can grow around the house. It could be a flower box in the window, could be the back stoop, could be even inside the house itself, and this becomes part of the decoration. So tell us about these brilliantly deep greens. Why are these so important for us?
Well, they actually have a lot of different vitamins and as well as minerals, and people eat salads almost every day for, a lot of reasons. And so it's really nice to be able to go out and pick your own fresh food and serve it to your family and your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's okay. We're going to go into some of the specifics of different suggested plants. Again, growing these organically, so we remove the insecticides, the pesticides, and the harsh chemical fertilizers, because many people say, well, you have to get rid of the insects and the mold and other things. Actually, plants, like human beings, have their own antibodies to protect themselves. So Brussels sprouts, why so important?
Brussels sprouts are one of the most nutrient-dense healing plants that there are. And what's really interesting is that when you have a healthy leaf, you will not get bugs or disease, because a healthy leaf, actually it's made out of carbohydrates, and so bugs don't want it. But an unhealthy leaf turns into a simple sugar and has a fragrance that says, "Come eat me, I'm sweet," so you get bugs.
Oh, that's really good to know. Going on, romaine lettuce.
Yeah, this is just another really favorite one for a lot of people. And I've had them live quite a long time before, and like I said, you just keep picking off the outside leaves, let the inside leaves stay, and they keep growing. And it's just marvelous to taste those.
Yeah. Well, and this is absolutely a beautiful plant too. It's just, I
Yes.
mean, this is a work of art in itself. Beets. I'm not really fond of beets, but I know that beets are really important for you. But not only the beet itself that grows under the soil, but the stems and the leaves above the soil. Why is this really a complete meal in itself?
Well, because it does have a lot of nutrients in it. It's got a lot of flavor, and you just get so much from it. And it's interesting because you can cut the tops back and eat those, and then the bottom will keep growing for a while, and then you can pull that one out and eat that too.
Hmm. Hmm. Or you can, harvest all at the same time and have it that way. Many people think of a vegetable as only being a potato. And of course, we know that a potato is just one of many vegetables. But it's a beautiful plant in its own right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know too many people who don't like potatoes. And sometimes people go, "Well, I was growing potatoes, but nothing came up." I goes, "They grow under the ground." So
Hmm.
they didn't even know they had to dig them up. But there's lots of kinds of potatoes, including sweet potatoes,
Hmm.
and they're all good for you.
Yeah, and if you look at the Andean people in Latin America, I mean, they have so many different varieties of potatoes, different colors, and each color actually addresses a different area of the body and provides different nutrients. So that's something to think about is that we're almost stuck on having, what they call the white or Irish potato, but there's so many different varieties we have. Looking at these carrots, now the one in your right hand is huge. And we have this raised grow bed in the back. This is a compilation photograph, if you will, Jay. Tell us about having the raised grow bed in the back. We can see that it has many plants growing there. And you have the carrots in your hand. So what's the correlation?
Well, this is a customer's yard, and her raised bed has all kinds of vegetables and herbs and stuff like that. And then I had another bed for the carrots, and this was not a planned picture. I would I pulled those up, and my girlfriend was working with me that day, and I said, "Ruth, look at these carrots!" And she grabbed her phone and took this picture. So that wasn't planned at all, but it's a great picture.
But there's several raised grow beds in the back, and we talked about these earlier. But let's go back into that. These are very attractive, look like a little gazebo. But why is it so important to have raised grow beds in particularly urban areas that have had open land for maybe 100, 125, 150 years? Why do we want to grow our own soil?
Well, because a lot of times there's been a lot of things happen to the soil. Sometimes people pollute the soil, excuse me, and like here we have sand, so we can't grow food in sand
Mhm,
because it
mhm.
doesn't hold moisture and nutrients. So we can put them in there, and they get all the nutrients because they're following the directions from me on how to prepare the soil, and all the food is just phenomenally tasteful.
Hmm. Now, I want to go back to what I was saying earlier about growing soil. What does that really mean? And how do you grow soil? We're going to go over that again in the next set of interviews. But why is growing your own soil so important?
Because again, you're controlling what's in it and what's not in it. And years ago I had created a raised bed, and I filled it up with all the leaves from the neighborhood, and I put a lot of other things in it, the kitchen scraps, and the leftovers from other things. And so um, after about a year or two, I had the best black, beautiful soil growing the best food I could even imagine, and it really was delicious.
Yeah. So what it is, there's actually what you're really saying is there's no more waste. That if you have even scraps or what have you, make sure they're very clean and no grease or oil in it. Is that you can actually start growing your own food. Now, I thought this was very attractive the way you presented this. This looks like a little bird's nest. What are we looking at in this work of art?
Well, I took this basket and I went out into my garden and I picked celery, which is up at the top, some kale, some herbs, basil, various different kinds of things, as well as the tomatoes. And I went in the house and made a salad. Mm-hmm. It was wonderful.
Well, you're eating well, but also if you look at Oriental culture and history, they feast through their eyes as well as through their mouth and tummies. And I think this is what you're doing right here in the United States. Now, getting to the flowers, you said we must have flowers, we must have the pollinators. So how does this all match up with the vegetables that we've been looking at? That we have these lovely flowers, but we really do need them.
We do. We really do. And it's funny because a lot of times people don't think about cucumbers and peppers as being a fruit, but they are. Mm-hmm. And so they have to be pollinated. So if you're growing them, you have to have some flowers as well. Anything that you pick off of a plant is a fruit.
Mm. That's very interesting. So we're really eating many more fruits than what we think about. The vibrancy of having this clay grow bed, very small, but yet very practical and very important. Why?
Well, it's got the color. It's going to feed the pollinators, and those are, I believe, edible flowers. So you could add those to your teas or your salads. And it's just a lot of fun to do this creating and have people come over and go, wow, that's really beautiful.
It really is. Now, looking at this is, of course, this is on the ground. You have a great mix as far as the plants that we have here, different types of colors. Why have this mix and match that we see here besides just the beauty of it?
Again, we've got the pollination, we've got some herbs in there so we can eat out of there. The bees and the butterflies will be attracted and they can get the nutrients that they need. And when people walk by, they go, wow, this is so pretty. I love it.
Yeah,
I love letting people taste the herbs and stuff because they have fragrances and flavors that you don't even expect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's very important. Berries, is that all part of gardening as well?
Oh, yeah, yeah. We have a lot of berries that we can grow. This is a blackberry. There's elderberries. There's mulberries. Mm-hmm. There's different kinds of cherries. There's all kinds of things that we can grow that a lot of times we don't even think about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, this ginger, I just love ginger, and something that really spices up the food that I like to make. But we're going out on this. What are we seeing here? We got 20 seconds. Why is it important to have this mix and to nurture our minds and our bodies, but also feast the eyes?
Well, you've got broccoli there. We've got lettuces. We've got various herbs and the flowers. And they're all edible. And it's beautiful and delicious. So I had to take that picture because it was just so beautiful.
Yeah, it is very beautiful. It's something that we eat. Jay McFall, President, Master Gardener, Organic Living, as we create the Emerald Planet.